Hello, welcome, and namaste. This is Moksha Mukti Apalo speaking regarding your questions, comment, concerns. Simply type up your questions, comment, concerns, and Moksha Mukti shall speak regarding that. Little sound check now. Sound check 1, 2, 3. Sound check 1, 2, 3. Sound check pass. Sound check 1, 2, 3. Sound check pass. Orly, you're back. Says hello. Hello, Orly. Namaste. Dominic Casamashina. Hello, Dominic. Thanks for joining. Dominic Casamashina. Hello, Dominic. Thanks for joining. Any comment, question, concern, simply type up your questions, comment, concern, and Moksha Mukti shall speaking regarding that. Sarah Jane Helena Mackenzie says hello. Hello, Sarah. Thanks for joining. Namaste. And you may hear a little echo in the background because Moksha Mukti is also listening to the live broadcast, because in the past there was some issue with the sound, so making sure there's no issue with the sound. Otherwise I would be wasting my time and you would be wasting your time if you can't hear Moksha Mukti. Virginia Lar de Frey Lewis says hi. Hello, Virginia. Thanks for joining. Namaste. And Matthew Johnson says namaste. Namaste, Matthew. Thanks for joining. Candace Lewinsky. Hello, Candace. Thanks for joining. Namaste. And Candace says, yes, please explain. Nice hair. Candace, what do you want Moksha Mukti to explain? He is simply expressing the expression of the existence here and now in the present moment, and your comment, concern, questions, you type it on the comment section, is pushing Moksha Mukti's button for him to speak. Otherwise, he can just remain here silently until something comes up in his consciousness, then he is going to speak. Otherwise, he can stay here just silently. By the way, thanks for the compliment, Candace. Do you have a nice hair? I guess so. To receive a compliment. Matthew Johnson says silence is a beautiful thing as well. Heart. Indeed. Orly writes, where is the source and how do I locate it? Well, Orly, that's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out, and it's your job, or is pointing you to give effort to give attention to that so you can locate it and respond back to Moksha Mukti, and he's going to point you whether you are in the right place or wrong place. Or, simply he's going to point you, but it's your effort it requires. It's your attention it requires to experience the source. You cannot locate the source. It's not you want to locate the source, it's the thought wants to locate the source. You are already in the source. You see? Candace writes, I just wanted to hear you talk. Haha. This is cool. You seem very intelligent as well. What country you are in? Candace, Moksha Mukti is in Dallas, Texas, USA. How about you? Virginia La writes, me too, I just whirled. I just whirled. What do you mean, I just whirled, Virginia? Virginia writes, would you like to hear you talk? Would like to hear you talk. Well, certainly, like I said, talk is not always necessary. Even being silent, there is tremendous pointers being expressed in silence. And if there is no demand in you, or if there's no revelation occurring in you, there is no need for Moksha Mukti to speak. But there are some comments being placed here. Candace writes, Ontario, Canada. And she said Texas is nice. I'm sure Canada is also nice, Candace. And Moksha Mukti has pointed out this before that, sometimes, he's just going to remain here silently. You see, he's going to remain here silently, and when Moksha Mukti remains silently, you may all leave, because now, what's that got to do with the silence? But it is what it is, you see. If there is no movement in your consciousness for you to, or thought in you to write any questions or comments, and there's no movement here, it's just best to remain silent and just be here now and experience what is offering to you in the present moment. Okay, so we've got a question here from Matthew Johnson. What is the difference between source and imagination? I have been stuck on this predicament. Yes, there is a very good question, Matthew. Very good question. That means you have already begun the exploration, and exploration needs to be there, because a lot of you, when Moksha Mukti pointed out the source, a lot of you coming back, now I am experiencing the sourcing. And when you go saying something like that, then there is a problem with your statement, because now that seems to Moksha Mukti that is coming from the imagination. So he pointed to that person again, separate, see the difference between your imagination and your experiencing, because everything is stemming from the thought is imagination. In here now, in the source, you are observing, you are in the present moment. You are not imagining anything about the past, you are not imagining anything about the future, but here now in the present moment, experiencing, observing anything and everything, even that you're observing your own thought that is happening. And you're observing like you're watching a movie. You see, you're watching a movie and all the dialogues are your thoughts. And you're observing all your thoughts in your mind, and you are watching that like you're watching a movie. Isaac Mullins says, hello Isaac, thanks for joining, namaste. And says, Isaac writes, your voice is mesmerizing. I would love any advice you have to offer. And I'll also agree, you have a great hair. You have great hair. Thank you, Isaac. Thanks for your compliment. I take this as a compliment. And Moksha Mukti is simply expressing the expression of the existence. He is pointing you to look within. Give attention to the source that is available to you now. Experience that, recognizing that, see that. Even for a few seconds. Lily Rosa da Costa says namaste. Namaste, Lily. Thanks for joining. Daniela Mia Rich. Daniela, you're back. And she says, namaste, my friend. Namaste. Thanks for joining again. And no questions today, just listening to you. Well, good. Maybe someone else will ask questions and Moksha Mukti shall speaking regarding that, or something appears in his consciousness. There's nothing appearing, you see, nothing appearing in his thoughts. It has to happen like the rain happens, flower blooms, a moth becomes a butterfly, or a tiny leaf falls from the tree, or even a tiny ant crawls on the ground, see, while you're walking, small thing, see, and you have every power to stamp your feet on the ant. Yet when you see the ant, it is so beautiful you don't step on it. You see, everything happens, simply happening, and this is happening. Right now is happening. And you are pushing Moksha Mukti's button for him to speak. Or he is simply speaking. Whatever arises naturally, you see, there is no thoughts. There is no thought is happening in Moksha Mukti's mind, you see. And well, some people say, that is stopping the thought. No, you can't stop the thought. Because in previous talks, people ask me, how do I stop thought? No, you can't stop the thought. But the thought ceases to exist, but the thought is happening suddenly, you see. And Anjan Kumar Mandal says, hello, namaste. Namaste, Anjan. Thanks for joining. Namaste. Someone is crying there. Someone is crying there. Crying baby. See, someone is just crying for something so trivial, it's not even worth getting up and go. It's just so trivial. Like, hey, why can't I have an iPad? Or you didn't do it the way I wanted you to do. You see, just like when you get hungry, you simply go ahead and eat. And you simply go and eat. And someone trying to get in here. So you simply go and eat when you get hungry. But of course, instead of eating food, they rather have an iPad, iPhone, TV for them to entertain, you see. And if that is not provided, they cry, And you can do certain amount of thing. There is live thing is happening here, live broadcast happening here. So there's some minor issue in the family right now. And I know I've seen this every night, so I know it's just a minor issue. Otherwise, I would have jumped out there. And it's always the same thing, small things, you see. So let's see who else joined here. Latvian Lamia says hello. Hey guys, there's a live session going on here. Live session going on. Hey, hang on just 1 second. Wait, I better go see that. Riva, Daddy have a live session going on there. It's not nice. Is my daughter wants my wife's iPhone, and she's not getting that, and and she's throwing a tantrum, and it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. I mean, people cry all the time. Even adults cry all the time. But that's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out, that if they want to cry, cry. You see. Because everybody, see, they want something from their thought. Whatever they comes in the thought, they believe in the thought. Now I want iPad, now I want iPhone, I want this and that and the other. And it is all happening. And she's crying. And last time I was giving talks like this, and someone said, hey, why don't you go and take care of that? Because that is more important. Take care of family. Well, I know my family and I know what's happening. And I'm giving talks right in the middle of talks, and it is what it is. See, I've gone through many times. So anyway, and it is simply happening. You see, this is one exercise. Even there is a noise in the house, you can certainly keep on going through, because if it's something important, you would go take care of that. But something like that so trivial, they want to get, and they're not getting that, and that's not needed, and they're causing the problem, you see. And even this, like this, in the source is not bothered. You see, in the source, you're not bothered by it. You're not agitated, you see. And it's just throwing tantrum, and you have to let them cry. So that's why Moksha Mukti is doing exactly the same thing. This is a good example for you, because now your thought is crying. It wants to be heard, it wants something, and you're simply observing. As a parent, you're simply observing your thoughts, just like that thought is crying, children's thought, you see. That is coming from the mind, and that is coming. And your thought is coming, and thought wants something. Thought wants you to do something. Thought wants you to believe that. And as a parent, at the source, you are observing the thought, you see. And when you when you recognize the source, you see, you're not agitated by the thoughts, you see. Because when you watch it too many times, what happens? It's like, I watch my children too many times, I know why the person is crying. I know why she's crying. And when you watch your thought too much, and it's going to be the same thing repeating, a lot of thoughts are repeating, and you will say, wait a minute, hey thought, I know what you're doing. You see. So this is actually a good example for you to to point you to what is going on in your own consciousness, you see. Virgin says, me too, no questions today, I'm just listening to you. Namaste. Latvian Lamia. So I was speaking to you. Thanks for joining. Namaste. And is it possible to totally empty your mind during meditation? Latvia, Moksha Mukti is not teaching you meditation. Just like Moksha Mukti is pointing, there was nothing in Moksha Mukti's mind. It seemed empty, but there is something there. Subtle thoughts are there, you see. Mind cannot be totally not empty. You cannot empty your mind. You see, something is always there, right? And when you give attention to the source, when you recognize the source, what happens? Mind cannot be totally not empty. You cannot empty your mind. You see, something is always there, right? You're not agitated by thoughts. You're not bothered by thoughts. You see, and in the recognition, when you give attention, there's a possibility for you to recognize the source, and in the source, when there's a recognition of the source, the meditation happens on its own, and that's the kind of meditation Moksha Mukti is pointing out. That is the natural meditation, not artificial meditation. You're forcing yourself to meditate. No, Moksha Mukti is not pointing to that. He's pointing to natural meditation. It happens on its own. You see. It is happening on its own. And it may not happen. You see, it may not happen today. And for some of you, it may happen today, just like many people have reported it happened to them today. So it may happen to you today. It may happen to you tomorrow, or sometimes, right? But wanting it to happen, if you longing it to happen tomorrow, that is stopping you to happen it today. But there is no guarantee when will it happen. It depends on your attention. You see, and that is just the experiencing of the source. That is just the taste of it. You see, you're just getting simply taste of that. You see, and that is happening now, and it is so simple, effortless. It is available to you. You see, it doesn't need no practice. It just simply needs your attention. Anjan writes, as a person, should I believe in God to make my life better? That is your thought asking that, Anjan. That is a question stemming from a thought. And thought wants your life to be better. Not today, but tomorrow, day after tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. Thought cannot deliver anything today. It will always promise tomorrow, and that's stemming from the thought. But he's pointing you, observe that, give attention to the source, and the question falls off. The question you're asking, it just falls off. Matthew writes, I'm not sure how to state this question, but I feel that water tends to draw my attention to the source. Yeah, again, that is your imagination. That is imagination. You don't need anything. You don't need water. You don't need crystal. You don't need anything. You don't need anything to give attention to the source. It doesn't require anything. Simply requires your attention. And if you're imagining water, and that is not the source, you are drawing to the source, water, not to the source. And water is part of the source, but not the source. Everything is part of the source, but not the source. Sarah Jane Helen McKinsey. Hello, Sarah, you're back. Thanks for joining. Namaste. Sarah writes, children, aha, can live with them, can't live without them. Yeah, this is what is Moksha Mukti pointing out. You see, a lot of you have a family member that wants to agitate you. A lot of people, they want to agitate you. They cry, they get angry, they yell, they shout. You see, and they try to make all this guilty feeling. You see, but in the source, you're not agitated. I mean, you have to go attend the children, when they cry, And Moksha Mukti did attend it, when she cried quite a bit, But, you've seen this. We've gone this routine. You've done this many times. You've seen this dream many times. You see, I'm talking about dream, real dream. You see, the waking state dream. This is a dream. You've seen this dream many times. When you've seen this dream many times, it's like a déjà vu. And you know what to do with it. You see, then you're not agitated. You're not bothered because now you are connected to the source. And, action was taken there. Moksha Mukti was given this live talks, and, he said, wait a minute, I need to go take care of that. And I didn't just want to stop this. I could have stopped and begun again, but I didn't want to do that. But he went and took care of that situation and saw in the present moment what is happening. And when you're in the present, you know what is happening, and it cannot bother you. You see, I mean, if she's hurt or something like that, of course, then I would need to take different action. Maybe I would need to come back and, hey, I gotta take her to hospital. I gotta do something. You see. So each situation, you are already equipped to handle each situation. Matthew says, this is reality. And I have learned a lot by just witnessing this. Thank you. You're welcome, Matthew. Simply give attention to that. Witness or observe. Observe everything. Observe everything, what is happening around you, within you, and outside of you. Wands enlightening insights. Wow, Wands enlightening. Enlightening insights. Nice name. And Wandas says namaste. Namaste, Wandas. Nancy Cohn Raven. Hello, Nancy. Thanks for joining. You're back. And, some of you I remember, some of you I don't remember. If I don't remember you, there are too many of you. But I remember you. Somehow you were here before. And Nancy writes, how can a person become more attuned to the audible life? Stream the sound current. The sounds you hear with the inner ears, the Bani. That's a good question, but Nancy, Moksha Mukti is not speaking regarding that sound or any water or any crystal or any third thing that you need to come to the source or recognize the source. You don't need anything. You don't need sound. You don't need sight. You don't need taste. You don't need the senses, and you don't need smell. You don't need any senses for you to give attention to the source. However, in the source, you may be experiencing all five senses. You're receiving data from all five senses, and you're observing that. And you're also observing what is happening within your thoughts, your emotions, your intuition, your heart, heartbeat, everything that is going on. That is, everything is happening. And you are all witnessing like you're watching a movie. You see. Sometimes what appears inside and outside seems interesting. Like the new movie Moksha Mukti just watched called Ben-Hur. Or the another good movie called, what's the other movie Moksha Mukti watched? Jason Bourne. You see, those of you who in America, Jason Bourne is the CIA person. And Ben-Hur, you may have already seen that many times. The old Ben-Hur, starred by one of those supposedly the great actor Charleston Heston, right? He starred on that first old Ben-Hur, but now they made new Ben-Hur in a 3D. You see, so you're watching your own thoughts and what is happening, observing outside and inside, like you're watching a movie. You see, and movie goes on, and you're witnessing that, you're observing that. You see, in the present moment, here and now. You see, and there's a possibility for you to experience the source. Yes, that's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. You see. See, there's a calm now. It just took like 2 minutes. 2 minutes of tandem, let it out. Even similar in your situation, when the thought cries, let it out. You see, observe. And it will disappear. All the thought appears and disappears in the mind. You see, it has a duration. And when you believe in the thought, it just clings you. And it clings you and make you go nuts. Isn't it? I'm going back to Rita Hatchet Adcock. Hello Rita, thanks for joining. Namaste. Rita writes, how can I deal with chronic pain? Can meditation help? Rita, Moksha Mukti has already pointed out about the pain in a couple days ago. So he recommends you go watch his video. But while you're here, simply your pain, what kind of pain you're speaking about? Moksha Mukti may do quantum prayer in a minute. But what kind of pain are you speaking about? You see, pain, all the pain is exaggerated by the mind or the thought. So simply do not believe in your thought and you'll notice your pain go away. And in a minute, if you require, Moksha Mukti will do quantum prayer for your pain. And in the past, after quantum prayer is done, majority people have reported back to Moksha Mukti, hey, I feel better now. So write down, speak what pain you're talking about. And yes, meditation may help you because now you're minimizing the thought because thought is happening. And meditation may help, but what Moksha Mukti is pointing you to give attention to the source in there. When you recognize in the source, the meditation happens on its own without even you doing anything. Meditation happens effortlessly, and that's pointing at. Wanda's right. I try to set boundaries, but am awakened from time to time by those who have passed. They have messages for loved ones. How do I set better boundaries? Wanda's, I think those are your imagination. That when the person passes, you receive their, messages. Those messages are all imagination. Be here and now in the present moment, those messages falls off. Because in the reality there is no messages anyway. Because those who have already left, they cannot come back. They cannot send you any message in the waking state. However, they can, this is what Moksha Mukti sees here. Then you don't even have to accept this. But Moksha Mukti sees here that they can perhaps send you a message in your dream, but not in this waking state. See, waking state is your imagination. You're imagining that someone is trying to speak to you. No, they cannot speak to you, because what happens? Whatever something is leave from this universe, you see, what they left is what they uh, when someone dies or there's a clinical death occurs, that means that their memory and thoughts are gone. So their memory and thoughts are gone, but the energy never dies. That's what Moksha Mukti pointed out. So your body or the energy never dies, it recycles. So from this body is recycled and becomes some other form of energy. However, the memory and the thought is lost or gone, and you cannot bring that back. You see, and he's pointing you to give attention to the source. In there will be recognition. There is a possibility for you to recognize that. In the recognition, then awakening is happening. Wait a minute, this is all imagination, this is all illusion, this is all dream. Now I am awakened. You see, that's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. Colin Lucksinger. Hello, Colin. Thanks for joining. Namaste. And Colin writes, the source lies within your heart. Some humans refer to it as intuition, others higher self. What you choose to call it is up to you, as long as you acknowledge it for what it really says. Colin, that is an intelligent statement. However, Moksha Mukti that's not what Moksha Mukti is saying. That is intelligent statements pointing you to your thought. Actually, what you're saying is speaking from the thought. You see, that's the thought is saying that, because thought tries to box what the source is. You do not know what the source is. Source is unlimited. Source is infinity. Source is formless. Source is available to you now, and you are connected to the source now. You are never separate, and you have possibility to experience that. It simply requires your attention. Now, in the source, you are observing not only your intuition, not only your heart, mind, body, everything. You are observing that. See, it includes everything. Your intuition, heart, mind, feeling, emotion, everything, and everything that is happening outside. It includes all that. It's subtle. And it seems powerless. It seems weak. You see? You see? But the thought says this, that, and the other is the imagination. And there are some of you who've been here and have experienced that. And when you experience that, see, you don't need to say all these things. Your words will be different. Your phrases will be different. And now that is happening is imagination. Imagination about the source. Thought is imagining about the source. And you may be able to write a book imagining about the source with all the intelligent words, all the intelligent logic, all the intelligent sequence. And you may sell a lot of books by writing all the statements about the source. But that is not the experiencing. When you're experiencing, you see, either you laugh or cry or remain silent or use different phrases. You see. Anjan Kumar says spirituality and morality are very connected, and religion is a big part of it, but this situation is different for atheists. Please answer my question as whether God is real in you. Anjan, you can call Moksha Mukti whatever you want to call. He's neither atheist, nor agnostic, nor nothing. You can call whatever you want to call. Because that is labeling. Thought is doing that. Your thought is doing that. Thought wants to label. And as long as you believe in your thought, you will label Moksha Mukti. You will even label God. You will even give God name. If He exists. You see. And you're writing statement. You heard somewhere. You read somewhere. and it's stem from a memory from small part of your brain, and you stating that. You see, that's not what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. He's pointing out to give attention to that is available to you now. Now you are fighting with yourself. When you ask a question like that, that means there's a war going on within you. You see, there's a friction going on within you, because now that thought wants to blame someone. Hey, Moksha Mukti, you don't believe in a God, now you're atheist. It labels that. You see, that's the thought doing that. And this is not the first time it has happened to Moksha Mukti. It happened to many times. Until you come to this terms and recognize that source is available to you now, you see, and you can experience that. Yes, you have a possibility to experience that. And once you experience that, once you get the taste of it, all those questions falls off, because all those are imposed upon you by your society. You see, that's why Moksha Mukti pointed in 2 paragraphs. If you read it 2 paragraphs, this is not a religion. This is not about God. This is simply about you. You're experiencing now in the present moment, and everything is available to you. And why don't you take advantage of that? Use it. Make effort and use it. And whatever you're seeking is already available to you. That's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. The more spiritually evolved a person becomes, the less need for assumption or thoughts. The time is now, not yesterday or tomorrow, but now. That's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. I don't know what you mean by spiritually, but I can go into that. And it's possible that some people may call this Moksha Mukti is really spiritual. You see, that's a labeling. Thought is labeling that. Right? But you're true when the time is, when you recognize, when you're here and now and give attention to that. You see, Moksha Mukti, there is no past, there is no future. What is happening is now in the present moment. Present moment, everything is available to you. All the thoughts, you can observe all your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and at the same time you can see, hear, taste, smell, sense, all 5% senses, data received from the perception. You can see, you can experience that now in the present moment. And spiritual, I don't know what you mean. A spirit actually is a word for Latin. As long as you're breathing, well, spirit means breath. So as long as you're breathing, that means you are spiritual. So as long as you're not breathing, that means you are clinically dead, or recycling your body to something else. In that process, then you are no longer spiritual, because you're not breathing. But as long as you're breathing, you are spiritual. You see. Nancy writes, yes, I liked those movies, the old one, laugh aloud, but I was meaning during meditation we see a light, we hear different sounds. I am wanting more of this sound and light in my life, as this is horse you ride into the far countries. Namaste. Yeah, you may see light, you may hear sound. What Moksha Mukti is pointing out, those are just the imagination. Observe those. Observe those. That's not the answer you're seeking for. Not the light, not the sound, nothing. And perhaps you begin to feel like emptiness, maybe total darkness, or nothing, like a vacuum. You may experience that. Even you can go even deeper, and that happens naturally. You see, Moksha Mukti is not pointing you. See, what you're doing is artificial meditation. Maybe that's why you're seeing the light and the sound, because you're doing artificial meditation, and artificial energy is producing that. You see, fooling you, thinking that you have come somewhere, but that's not the answer you're seeking for. That's not the home you're seeking for. That's not the source you're seeking for. That's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. And it is there. It is there now. It is available to you now. And it simply requires your effort. Now, see, those of you who taught you this meditation, this and that and the other, you see, they taught you that. And that Moksha Mukti is pointing out they are lies because it's imagination. You see. And when you are here now, it simply requires your attention. Simply requires your attention. No more, no less. That's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. And what he's pointing out is so simple that you will not believe this. Because you are taught to believe something that is complicated. If it's complicated, there is so much logic, assumption, or the assertions, or the sequence, and steps. All this is presented to you, then you believe that because this is how you're taught. But what Moksha Mukti is pointing so simple, you will not believe this. You will not accept this. Rita writes, Stoke and Flora Magila. I don't know what you're talking about. Rita, you don't need anything else to experience the source. You have everything available to you now. You see, now you're needing something else. That means you're feeling insecure, and that insecurity is brought upon you by your thoughts. Your thought is saying that now, yeah, you can't do meditation, or you can't recognize the source. You need something. You see, only thought says that. And thought or the mind likes sensuality, and it seeks for sensual stuff, either crystal or water or something. It's the thought is doing that, and you're imagining in your head. Nancy writes, how can one stay conscious during the deathing process? What do you mean by deathing process? Not understanding your question, Nancy. What do you mean by deathing process? Nancy writes, hi Sanja. Colin writes, the possibilities and range of your source's power are almost impossible to fathom. Truly connecting all paths of yourself to form your supreme self. If your body is damaged, instead walk with your mind. Colin, you are trying, but you are still assuming. Your thought is also dominating you. You are believing in your thought, and what you are saying is happening from your thought. I mean, true, the source, power of the source is impossible to fathom, yet it is not impossible. Because there is something within you now that can fathom, that knows. Not the kind of knowing thought knows, but it knows uniquely. You see, that it is infinity. It has infinity power. So the thought is limited, limitless power. Thought is limited. So how can limited thing know the limitless power, limitless, whatever is that? And thought tries to box and this and that other, and thought will never know. Thought only assumes. And truly connecting all parts of your souls to your supreme source, whatever you're saying, supreme self or whatever self Moksha Mukti is calling source, is you are already connected. There is no need to connect. Thought is saying that you need to connect, because thought can never connect. It wants to connect but can never connect, and it says I want to connect and you need to connect. So thought is telling you that need to connect. And body is not going to damage. Even the body is more intelligent than you know. Body is more intelligent than mind assumes to be. You see. And there is a tremendous intelligence in the body. You see. And it's not the mind, it's the attention. You see, it requires attention, not the mind or the thought, attention. And there is a tremendous intelligence in the body, mind or the thought, attention. Matthew writes, it seems powerless, it seems weak. Yes, it seems powerless, it seems weak. That is the reason your thought says, don't give attention to that, give attention to me, I am powerful. And thought has produced many things to make it think it is powerful. And the source seems nothing. Nothing. However, that nothing is not nothing, like it is nothing. You see, that nothing, everything comes from that nothing, and everything goes back to that nothing. It's like a cycle. You see, that nothing, everything comes from that nothing, and when the recognition happens to you, you see, there is something within you, it expresses. There is something within you, it gives you tremendous energy. There's something within you that gives you tremendous authority, tremendous certainty. And it's not the kind of authority like government has or somebody authority, but the authority for you to express, authority you to speak regarding that. Not authority over anything, but authority to speak. Because it gives you that tremendous energy. Tremendous energy of life that is living now in the present moment. You see, it gives you that. And Moksha Mukti, don't take Moksha Mukti's word. See in your own experiencing, see in your own consciousness, see in your own functionality. That's why Moksha Mukti says, give attention to that source. Then it gives you possibility for you to recognize. And in the recognition, tremendous things happen. Extraordinary things happen. It has happened in gathering like this. You see, it has happened. People reported back to Moksha Mukti, tremendous experiences experienced. Profound experience experienced. Extraordinary experience experienced in simple gathering like this. And Moksha Mukti is not extraordinary person, he is simply an ordinary person. You see, simple man, simple ordinary man. And here, extraordinary things been experiencing, extraordinary things been happening. You see, it's because together, see, Moksha Mukti is pointing and giving effort. See, next question. Amy Thomas says, love this. Well, Amy, thank you. Thank you. Just don't hear it. Try to give attention to even that hearing. You see. Even observe the hearing. You see. See in your own functionality. Don't take anything for granted. Validate and verify within your functionality. Don't accept this like a grain of salt. You see, Moksha Mukti is speaking the truth, but it is not truth to you until you see that in your consciousness or in your functionality or from your experience. When you see that, then it becomes truth to you. Otherwise, don't accept this. Validate and verify. Yeah. Anjan Kumar says, everyone have a good night. Good night. All right, Anjan, have a good night. Is it too much for you today? Moksha Mukti is not offering you any God. Edward Hernandez. Hello, Edward. Thanks for joining. Namaste. It's right. Namaste. How are you? Moksha Mukti is well. Thank you. How are you? Matthew says, my thoughts have just experienced fear when attempting to open up to the source. Should we just let go of thought and allow source to come in naturally despite the fear? By reading your statements, Matthew, I can see that all of these are thoughts. Whatever happened is your thought is attempting to recognize the source. And what Moksha Mukti is pointing, your thought will never recognize the source. It is attempting. It is trying. It is imagining. And by imagination, by thinking, Moksha Mukti has already pointed out, you will never get there. You see, you will never recognize it. You see. And when you say, well, just instant, should we, there is no we here. It's you. It's your experience. You see, you're not at the present. You see, you're still in the past or in the future. See, it seems like you're in the future. See, now I am recognizing in the future. Not recognizing in the present, but I am going to recognize in the future. See, that is what is happening. And that is what his thought is saying, that because through thought, like a train, you will never catch to the source. Don't believe in the thought. That's what Moksha Mukti point. Not letting go thoughts. You cannot let go thoughts. Thought is going to be there, no matter what. But what Moksha Mukti is pointing, even for 15 seconds while you're here, don't believe in your thoughts. You see, whatever is in the memory is not going to go away. You're not going to lose your thoughts because it is there in the mind. And thought is causing you fear. There is nothing to be afraid. But you are afraid. Because you want to keep on continuing believing the thought, because that's how the society is created. That's how the status quo is created, because you want to keep on continuing, keep on consuming that, keep on experiencing that, keep on using that. And now you have consumed all your energy, consumed all your attention, because that is given to the thoughts. And thought is eating it and taking you for the ride. Hey, Matthew, I am your thought, come to me. I will give you whatever you need tomorrow. I will give you whatever you want tomorrow. Not today, not now, tomorrow, later. That's what thoughts is. That's what thoughts is saying to you now. Isn't it? Edward Hernandez writes, what's your opinion about LSD and the death of the ego? Edward, Moksha Mukti does not recommend LSD. He has said that many times in previous occasions. LSD is just the chemical that produces extra chemical in your brain for you to have a different experiences that you normally don't experience while you're normal state. So in there you may experience tremendous experience like you have no ego, and that is all illusion, you see. Because ultimately what you are seeking is to have optimal sensitivity of your nervous system. And when you take drugs like LSD, or even alcohol or any other drugs, marijuana, any other drugs, it is not going to optimize your sensitivity of your nervous system. It twists it. It distorts your nervous system. It distorts. You're far from optimizing it. And in this distortion, you may experience something great, but ultimately that is not what you're seeking for. That's why there are a lot of you coming back and reporting to Moksha Mukti, I've been clean for this many years. Why? Why do they want to be clean? Matthew Johnson says disregard. You can't disregard your thought, Matthew. Thought happens, don't believe in thought. That's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. And it requires your attention. Simply requires your attention, here and now. You see, your thought is going to be there. You cannot stop thoughts. You cannot disregard thoughts. You can observe it. It goes on. It's an energy. And some scientist says thought is electromagnetic field or energy. And it happens on its own. It is happening now. All thought is happening now. You don't know what you're going to say next. Even Moksha Mukti does not know what he's going to say next. It is all happening. This is all happening. Simply dance of quantum dancing. Universe is dancing. Just like the wave on the ocean. We're dancing. Why take it life seriously? Why take everything seriously? You see, everything is available to now. Use it. I just remember this quote, use it or lose it quote. Matthew Johnson says namaste. Namaste. Alexandria Wall James. Hello again. Yes, hello Alexandria. Thanks for joining. Namaste. She says namaste. How are you today? Ravi Vadani. Baba, bless me please. Hello Ravi, thanks for joining. Namaste. And Ravi says, Baba, bless me please. Bless you, Ravi. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. And this is like one of those Indian things, some people call Moksha Mukti Baba, some people call him Swami, some people call him Guru. So anyway, bless you. Edward Hernandez writes, what's your favorite sitar player? Yeah, this is like off the topic question. It's like question about God. But this is not a question about the source, but it is synthetic reality, and and I happen to know a couple of sitar players, just like Ravi Shankar and his daughter, and those are the only two He knows, and his Moksha Mukti's aunt used to play sitar in our home. Other than that, but anyway, Alexandria writes, "Do you feel as though animals are always connected with the source?" Yes. Not only animals, Alexandria, you are also connected to the source now. But what is happening? Difference between you and the animal, somehow, somewhere in time, during the course of evolution, if such thing occurred, in there, a mechanism is placed in the mind, in humans. In that mechanism, everything is seeing the separateness, and all this perceivedness of the separateness, perceiving of the separateness, is causing you to see the separateness, is causing you to see that you are not connected to the source. But you are connected to the source, and animals don't have the artificial thoughts, so they always experience the connectedness with the source, and you don't because of the artificial thought. However, that natural thought is also available within you, just like the animals, but that you are imposed, you are dominated, you are conditioned by the artificial thought. You see that artificial thoughts are needed to function in the society. The society is made of artificial thought. See, look around everywhere, everything is artificial, everything is false. But you have to accept it to function in the society, otherwise there will be even more war. There is already war, but even there will be more war everywhere, fighting everywhere. If you don't accept the reality created by the mind or created by the society. You see, everything is a function of the thought. You see, all the companies, all the schools, everything is created by the thought. So I receive a warning that battery is low, and so Moksha Mukti is going to speak as long as the battery is good, and when he doesn't speak, that means the battery is dead and the session will end. Okay. So that was a good question, Alexandria. That's the point I was going to point to. That there's two things available. One is natural thought, and one is artificial thought that is happening. And what is consuming your energy is the artificial thought, not the natural thought. Natural thought runs in a minimum, and in the reality, that's all you need. You only need the natural thought in the reality. But to function in the society, function here, you'll need the artificial thought. You see. Alexander writes, we forget they don't. Yes, we forget because of the artificial thoughts. Because it consumes your energy, making you exhausted, making you tired. And there's no more energy for you to give attention to that source. And that's what Moksha Mukti is pointing you now. Do you see that? Terry Facemeyer. Hello Terry, thanks for joining. Namaste. Terry writes, I am seeking soul. What is the source? Well, Moksha Mukti has been speaking. I suggest you go back and watch this video, if you want to know. But it simply requires your attention. Be here and now and give attention to everything that is going on, your heart's mind, body, mind, thoughts, anything and everything, like you're watching a movie. And Alexander writes, how do you feel about eating healthy to be more connected to the source? See, you don't want to be feeling connected to the source. You are actually experiencing the source, recognizing the source, the recognition. And certainly maybe eating healthy will cause your sensitivity of your nervous system to optimize. It will help you to optimize. And when your sensitivity is optimized, certainly there is a possibility for you to recognize the source. You see. But you are connected to the source. You see, you are connected to the source now. You are never separate. The separateness is just Moksha Mukti pointing out, it is perceived by the mind. So I think there's only a few minutes left. So I'm going to try to read most of your comments. Tanya Tibble. Hello Tanya, thanks for joining. Namaste. Writes, do you believe we come back in life form as a correction? You don't need to believe in something like that. See, that is again stem from the thought. That is a question of the thought, because thought wants to come back, thought wants to live forever. Thought never wants to die, and it is the thought that dies when the death, so-called death occurs, is the thought dies, not the body. And the thought wants to come back. Tanya writes, source is what you feel when you meditate. No, that's not what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. That's not what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. And he has spoken many times. That's not what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. I suggest you go back and watch the video. Tanya says, good answer about the food. Alexandria Walls, I get it. It's not so much getting it, it's so much experiencing it, recognizing it. Alexandria, lots of love to you. Namaste, you're awesome. Same to you, Alexandria. Thanks for joining, thanks for sharing your experience, thanks for being here. Namaste. Tina says, everything is conscious. Yes, everything is living. Tina says, Namaskar. Namaskar? He was trying to say Namaskar? Alexandria, when I feel source, I feel this safe, extreme joy and peace. It's unexplainable how it feels. It's like aha moment. Perhaps. When you recognize it. And in there is a possibility of infinity possibilities, and there is a possibility for you to create miracle in your life. And there is a possibility to something great to happen. You see, something great to happen that doesn't normally happens when you share information. Like in the society, when you meet someone, you try to immediately use thought to share something, information stored in the memory. Either you're trying to teach someone or they're trying to teach you in the conversation. There's nothing else going on. You see, they're sharing the information. You see, but here Moksha Mukti is not teaching you anything. He's not giving you a lecture. He's not giving you any lessons. He's not giving you speech. He's simply pointing you to something that you already have within you now. And that is also your source of happiness and source of everything that you're seeking. Uh, Tanya say, you are wonderful. I am just back from India. Well, Moksha Mukti hasn't been anywhere. I was in LA sometime in June. I was in DC in May, but now here in Dallas, Texas. Tanya writes, such a wise country full of such wisdom. Perhaps. Perhaps, but that's not what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. Moksha Mukti is not pointing out go to India. What is pointing out, whatever you are looking for, you already have it within you now. That's what he's pointing out. Alexandria writes, I like your orange shiny thing too, haha. There's a name for that. I forgot what it calls. It's like someone has I don't recall the name. I think it starts with the S. Anyway, you like it? So yeah, I think there's a couple of comments here. And Tanya writes, India is a mirror to my soul. Perhaps. Alexandria writes, slash, maybe. Sari, Tanya, no, it's not sari. Scarf, maybe scarf. But there's some other word for it. It's like, it goes on the side like this. I normally wear them on the side, just like the beauty pageant. But today I'm wearing it on my neck, so you may call it scarf. This is not a sari. This is a scarf, or you may call that what beauty pageant wears on the side. Well, Moksha Mukti has been speaking for 1 hour 18 minutes, and his battery is about to die. And normally I wait till the battery dies, but today that I think it's time for dinner. Shash, I think, yeah, that's Shash. Ruthie, hello, you're back. Ruthie says Shash. I think that's Shash. That's right. Shash, but today it's a scarf. Yeah, I already got the warning, 10% battery. Anyway, that's all Moksha Mukti is going to speak today. So he's going to end this session. Thanks all of you for joining, speaking about your experiences, sharing your experiences, being here and now. And this video will be available if you want to watch it again. And Moksha Mukti will also place a little comment on a comment section to his website, where you can schedule a one-on-one session with him if you're interested. If not, Moksha Mukti shall be back here tomorrow. Don't know what time, but sometime tomorrow. And Any comments that you write after the this live session, Moksha Mukti shall respond to this next time. And actually, the comments will be turned off in a minute anyway. So anyway, have a nice evening and blessings to you all, and namaste.